The Zephyrian council chamber fell silent, as Ambassador Kethvar's towering form cast shadows across the crystalline floor. His 4 eyes, each the size of dinner plates, focused on the small human figure standing before the assembled alien leadership. Commander Sarah Chen, barely reaching the alien's chest, maintained her composure despite being surrounded by beings who could crush her with a casual gesture. "This is unprecedented," Kethvar's voice resonated through the chamber's bioacoustic amplifiers, a sound like grinding tectonic plates. "In 300 cycles, no species has successfully integrated our youth into their military structure. Yet 17 of our younglings have requested transfer to your human fleet." His head tilted, a gesture that in Zephyrian culture indicated profound confusion. "Explain this anomaly." Sarah glanced at the circle of alien representatives, Kethvar's people with their stone-like exoskeletons, the ethereal luminari whose bodies shifted between solid and energy, the insectoid Chitauri, whose compound eyes reflected her image in thousands of fragments. Each species had contributed youth to her crew, an unprecedented phenomenon that had sent shockwaves through the Galactic Coalition. "They follow me because I listen," Sarah said simply. A sound like static electricity filled the chamber as the luminary delegate, Weaver of Light, flickered between forms. Clarification required. All species possess auditory reception capabilities. This cannot be the differential factor. Sarah smiled, the expression lost on most of her audience. "Respectfully, Weaver of Light, there's a difference between hearing and listening." She activated her wrist display, projecting a holographic scene into the chamber's center. The recording showed the human ship's bridge during the Nexus Station crisis 3 months prior. A young Chitauri, barely past its first molting, approached Sarah's command chair with obvious trepidation. "Young Zakth was convinced she had discovered a fatal flaw in our defensive grid," Sarah narrated as they watched the scene unfold. Every superior she'd approached had dismissed her concerns. In Chitauri culture, questioning elders brings great shame. The recording showed Sarah stopping her conversation with the navigation officer, turning her full attention to the trembling alien youth. She listened as Zakth explained her theory in broken standard, her mandibles clicking with nervous energy. Other bridge crew, human and alien alike, watched as their commander took notes, asked clarifying questions, and took the younglings' concerns seriously. The flaw she identified saved 14 million lives when the Void Hunters attacked, Sarah concluded. But that's not why she requested permanent transfer to my crew. Kethvar's massive hands scraped against his stone-like thighs. Then why? Because I listened to her. Not just to her words, but to what she needed. She needed to be heard, to be valued, to know that her contributions mattered regardless of her age or status. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien languages as delegates conferred among themselves. Sarah waited patiently, hands clasped behind her back in a parade rest stance that spoke of military discipline tempered by human adaptability. The eldest present, a seraphim whose crystalline form had grown for over 2 millennia, spoke in harmonics that the translation matrix rendered as ancient wisdom. "We fail to comprehend. Our younglings receive extensive education, optimal nutrition, and protection. What more could they require?" Sarah's expression softened. "They need to know they're not just the future, they're the present." When Zephyrian youngling Mordak brought me his proposal for modular armor systems, I didn't pat him on the head and tell him it was cute. I connected him with our engineering team. His design is now standard issue across 3 fleet groups. She gestured to another projection showing various alien youth working alongside human crew members, not as observers or students, but as active participants. When Luminary Youngling's spark of innovation suggested modifications to our energy distribution network, I didn't explain why it wouldn't work. I asked her to show me. Her innovations increased our efficiency by 30%. "Impossible," Weaver of Light flickered more rapidly. "Spark of innovation has barely achieved 3rd phase development. Such complex understanding should be centuries beyond her capabilities." "That's exactly the problem," Sarah said, her voice carrying the weight of revelation. "You've decided what they're capable of based on their age, not their potential. Humans learned long ago that fresh perspectives often see solutions that experience overlooks." The Chitauri delegate, speaker for the hive, clicked rapidly. "Your species is young, barely spacefaring for 2 centuries. What wisdom could you possess that we lack?" Sarah's laugh was warm, genuine. We know what it's like to be underestimated. For most of our history, we've been the younglings in every room we've entered. We learned to listen because we needed others to listen to us. She brought up a final projection, this one showing her ship's crew during their last shore leave. Young aliens and humans mixed freely, sharing ideas, laughing at translated jokes, working together on projects that spanned disciplines and species. The image was chaotic, loud, and completely at odds with the rigid hierarchies of traditional alien societies. Your younglings don't just want to be protected and educated, Sarah continued. They want to contribute, to matter, to be part of something bigger than themselves. When they bring me ideas, I don't see inexperience, I see potential. When they make mistakes, I don't see failure. I see learning opportunities. Kethavar leaned forward, his massive frame creaking like a mountain settling. And this, listening, this is a human trait? It's a choice, Sarah replied. Every species here has the capacity for it. But humans learned something crucial during our development. The voices of the young often carry the seeds of the future. We ignore them at our own peril. The chamber fell silent again, but this time the quality of the silence had changed. Where before there had been confusion and skepticism, now there was contemplation. Finally, the ancient seraphim spoke again. Perhaps we have much to learn from this human concept of listening. Sarah nodded respectfully. I'd be honored to share what we've learned. But the best teachers might be your own younglings. Have you ever asked them what they think? As the council session concluded and delegates dispersed to consider this revolutionary concept, Sarah reflected on humanity's greatest export to the galaxy. Not technology or weapons or even courage, but the simple recognition that every voice deserved to be heard. Sometimes the greatest strength wasn't in speaking, but in listening to those who had been waiting their whole lives to be heard.